Was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of
Game day, baby! Let's go!
With the Bears, they started this new tradition last year where they celebrate their wins the correct way.
Waddle and Sylvie, ESPN 1000, don't miss it.
I know what you mean.
It's like their own Philly.
Okay. Okay, I think what it is.
We shouldn't be showing this. Am I crazy?
What a great sign that is. What have I told you? 17 minutes of rain would wash away 108 years of drought.
Do you see this team growing into the team that you were in 2005?
Great props, everybody.
You are ridiculous.
ladies and gentlemen. It's Bears-Packers. It is game day. I am so fired up for today. I was nervous all week, and now I'm fired up. I got my Jack Daniels ready to go. It's cooking. I am your host, Gregory Braggs Jr. Always got the Jack Daniels with me. And this is, of course, my co-host, graphic design extraordinaire and super producer, Jacob Hovanek. And we have a special guest that we are bringing in right away from the Under Center podcast and NBC Sports Chicago, joining us for another exciting Braggs in the Stands pregame. You came on for Bears-Packers on my birthday when I thought this could be the Mitch game, and this was going to be the game. I had dubbed it it was going to be called the Mitch game because he was going to lead us back, and we all know how that ended on my birthday. Now here we are. All these weeks later, we were ready to burn it down after that week, JJ. And now here we are with a chance, the Bears with a chance to make the playoffs, and you are heading there here in a little bit. So we really appreciate you cutting out a little bit of time. Where's your mindset and your mind space as far as your feelings on this game right now as you wake up this morning?
Oh boy. I mean, I'm excited that we get a chance to watch and enjoy a meaningful Week 17 game. I'm going to be honest. I picked the Packers to win. Please don't kick me off your show. But it's my job to be an analyst, so I have to follow my gut on that. But this is such an exciting day. I mean, when I step back and think about everything that happened before this season, with wondering if we were going to get all 16 games in and wondering about competitive balance and all that. And now we're going into a game, the last game of the season. And the Bears-Packers game is not the only game that has a lot of implications, obviously Arizona and LA, but that we made it. And we made it through 16 games, and we now get to enjoy one more weekend of the regular season before, hey, maybe the Bears will wind up in the playoffs, which, by the way, even though I predicted the Packers to win, still have the Bears in the playoffs. So at least I got that.
Okay, that's going to be interesting because, we do have the Rams game in our back pocket. And I think for me as a prideful Bears fan, I don't even want to take that game into consideration. I just want the Bears to get it done on their own. It'll feel weird to get in that way. And obviously you'll take it any way you get as a fan. And I'm sure, of course, the team will, of course, as well. But it is kind of amazing, as you mentioned, where we started this in the preseason, not knowing what the training camp was going to look like. And of course, the quarterback competition. And now, we've gone through this saga. They started Mitch, they benched Mitch, they brought in Foles, they benched Foles. And then Mitch comes back in and is, from all accounts, you're even seeing Ian Rappaport double down on it today that, Matt Nagy's job is safe. Now, where do you stand with Mitchell Trubisky? How much does this game impact the direction of his future with this franchise? Could he see because I see some Bears fans worried that this is going to be a repeat of 2013, that Mitch will have a decent game and that will fool the Bears into giving him some kind of long-term extension. What's the ceiling of what Mitch can do to stay on this team for next year? Where's your thoughts on that?
So I am in the camp that the Bears should try to bring him back because, as Ian Rappaport also reported today, something I think has become increasingly clear over the last few weeks, Matt Nagy is going to be back next year. His job is safe. So if you're bringing back Matt Nagy, you're bringing back Bill Lazor, I would presume. The offense that they're running works right now with Mitch. So try to do what you can to keep Mitch. My worry is that if he plays well in this game against the Packers, all of a sudden now, instead of talking about a 1-year, 2-year deal with Mitch, we're talking about like the Blake Bortles contract, like 3 years, $54 million with way too much guaranteed. If that happens, that could be a big problem for this franchise. If they put too much emphasis on this game, the flip side, if they put too much emphasis on this game and Mitch does not play well, where do you go next year? Do you go to, Jacoby Brissett to be your starting quarterback? Do you try? I mean, I don't know. Do you draft Mac Jones and say, hey, you're our week 1 starter? Because Nick Foles is on this roster next year. So I think that the middle ground here of saying, listen, we like what you've done. We'd like to have you back, and we'd like to have you back on a prove-it contract. We are not ready to commit, 3 years, $50 million, 3 years, $60 million to you right now. But You come back on a 1-year deal that is, we're going to be honest, below market value, and you play your ass off next year like you've been playing these last couple of games, then we can start talking about that 5-year, $150 million extension or something like something crazy like that. That's what I would pitch Trubisky on. I don't know if Mitch would want to come back on that, given there may be some trust issues with Matt Nagy after he got benched the first time. That would only be natural if that were the case. But if I'm Mitch, I'm also looking at the Bears and saying, hey, I've never played better football in my life.
Right.
These coaches finally figured something out that works for me. I want to stick here because I think I can prove it next year. And yeah, I might only make $12 million in 2021. But 2022, I think I'm going to make myself 70, 80 million guaranteed if I keep playing this way.
And that's with the understanding that Nagy will continue to let Laser call the plays and everything else. So you believe, because what you've said, you it almost sounds as if you're convinced that they have turned a corner despite the fact that they've played a bunch of lackluster defenses. Do you still need to see it today? You're saying all these things. Is that a preface of they need to continue the trend of what they've done offensively today? Or would you, or I mean, if he has a catastrophic collapse, it's hard for me to imagine Mitch coming back next year, even as ironic as it would be to see Nagy back, because Mitch is the one that saved his job. And that's where my biggest questions are, because I'd like to see him try it one more year if that's the case, because if Nagy's on a 1-year prove-it deal for next year, and they finally took 2 years to figure out how they want to run their offense, and then they're just going to scrap it to see if a rookie or a guy like Jacoby Brissett, who's
good backup.
Exactly. Somebody that isn't going to be trusted. I don't know if I'm Matt Nagy, if that's how I'm going to push all my chips in on a 1-year prove-it deal to George McCaskey. But, going into today's game, because that's what it's all about, Bears, Packers, no Jalen Johnson. That's my biggest concern. Kendall Vildor, we had Brendan, B. Schultz from Twitter was on last week, and he was doing a great job of showing us how Vildor had been stepping up, and then last week, of course, he got burnt on the deep ball touchdown, which I thought was a nice play by the offense. It's not all a bad play by Vildor, but how concerned are you? Because the last time we played Bears or the Packers on my birthday, I can't help but remember 3rd and 12, I think it was, and Kyle Fuller's playing 15 yards back. All the DBs are playing 15 yards, and they're just like, it's just a check down, first down. Like it's almost like they're not even trying. Are we going to see the defensive backs and Chuck Pagano push these guys to be more aggressive at the line of scrimmage today? I feel like I'm back in 2006 asking Lovie Smith at the Bears Expo, why don't we jam at the line of scrimmage? What is that? Or am I going to see some aggressiveness on the defensive side today?
Here's where it's got to come from. It's got to come from the pass rush. They have got to win with their front four. If they don't, it doesn't matter if they're jamming Davante Adams at the line of scrimmage. He's going to win. Right. Davante Adams is the best receiver in the NFL. And for all the encouraging things, in terms of playing physical that we've seen from Kendall Vildor still is a 5th-round rookie. Duke Shelley is still a second-year, 6th-round player. You get Davante Adams lined up on those guys, Davante Adams is going to win. So you have to make sure that you can do something to affect Aaron Rodgers, and that is hitting him. Not just pressure him, get him outside the pocket. Oh, we affected this throw that he hit Davante Adams for 30 yards. You have to hit him. Right. That is what this game is about. Robert Quinn has got to play his best game in a Bears uniform. Khalil Mack has got to have one of those games where he just takes over. Akeem Hicks and Bilal Nichols have got to push the pocket from the interior. If those guys aren't doing it, and Aaron Rodgers is standing back there super comfortable, the Bears are going to lose. Yeah. Because you're not going to win a shootout with Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Rodgers is not fearing the pass rush. Or, all right, well, I guess Quinn's upfield, so I guess I'll just sneak out this way. And I know Davante Adams is coming back to the ball, so I can hit him for a 12-yard gain. And the other thing, they have got to fly and rally to the ball in a way that they maybe didn't in that Week 12 game. Because you mentioned Kyle Fuller playing off coverage. That's what Kyle Fuller does. Kyle Fuller is good at playing off coverage. The problem is that when you're missing tackles and you're not tackling well, Davante Adams in that game was targeted 3 times against Kyle Fuller. He gained 33 yards, 27 of which were after the catch. That can't happen. You've got to hit Davante Adams and bring him down. If you because he's also really hard to bring down. It's me saying this, but you cannot let him get those yards after the catch numbers when he's matched up against Fuller, because that's just easy buckets for this Packers offense. You got to get Roquan going sideline to sideline. You got to get Eddie Jackson coming downhill and playing fast and physical if you want to have any shot at stopping this offense. Because otherwise then, all right, you just go line them up on Duke Shelley in the slot, and that is a mismatch that Green Bay is going to probably try to exploit quite a bit.
Right. And obviously the absence of David Bakhtiari helps the Bears a little bit. Well, I think Aaron will be okay. I mean, he's smart enough to work around that absence. We don't have crowd noise today, which is a huge benefit to Aaron Rodgers, because he has mentioned how much he's picking up on these defensive calls that he's hearing and how he's identifying them and using that to his advantage. So while I really, really hope the absence of Bakhtiari makes a big difference for this D-line, I do think Rodgers is the right guy to absolutely get the ball out quickly and make up for that absence with his intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers has seen everything. He knows how to get himself protected properly, even if he doesn't have one of the 2 or 3 best tackles in the NFL lining up on his left side, on his blind side. And look, the rest of this Green Bay offensive line is really good. Jenkins is really good. Lindsley is really good. Billy Turner is a very versatile guy who's probably going to wind up at left tackle today. Rick Wagner is a veteran backup. So that Green Bay's offensive line is still going to be fine, but they might not be great. Mm-hmm. And that difference between great and fine, or great and good, that is where the Bears have to exploit it. Look, the Bears guaranteed Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn $90 million for games like this. Right. And if they don't show up, if Robert Quinn doesn't show up, if Khalil Mack just gets a bunch of pressures but no hits, you wonder, why did we do this? Why did we pay all this money? Because if you can't get Aaron Rodgers in the game that matters the most, then you shouldn't have paid all that money for a pass rush. Something's wrong. Yeah, maybe it's the defensive coordinator. Maybe it's the defensive coordinator. I don't know. But something is broken if you feel like your strength of your defense is the pass rush and they cannot get after Aaron Rodgers today.
Right. It looks like Greg's having a little bit of technical difficulty.
I'm back now. It took me a minute.
There he goes.
I apologize. Yeah, my Wi-Fi here is connected, and it just disconnected me off my Ethernet, and then of course I freeze up. So I appreciate you taking the reins, Jake. I was going to throw it to you anyway. You know, I have to throw a few in there.
Well, you got no video, so
man, one day I'll get the internet figured out. I know I got GSH Jeff making fun of me in the chat. So I hate to go here because I try to just stay positive. I'm so fired up for this game, and I want to hope and dream. But the last time we played the Packers, they took it to us, and we know how much George McCaskey puts stock into these games. He talks about it, how he reacts like a fan, and how much beating the Packers means to him. And I know we've talked about how Matt Nagy's job is safe. Is there any scenario today that you can envision that his job will become unsafe? It is with it. I hate saying it because I want this game to be close. Vegas thinks this game is going to be close. It feels like it will be close. If it's a blowout, I'm going to cry, and then I'm going to lose my mind on Twitter. So I have a feeling if George is the same way, is he going to lose his mind and revert back to those feelings of a few weeks ago where we were ready to shoot everybody off into the moon?
A 56-0 loss might give him some pause. But it would be one thing if the Bears had quit on this season and they just went out there and looked like they didn't care against the Packers. That would be one thing. But the Bears have not quit on this season. They are still playing for Matt Nagy. They're still playing hard.
But who are they going to be more excited for if they win this game? Are they really playing for Matt Nagy, or is this the resurgence of Mitch Trubisky and Bill Lazor's the one calling the plays now? As a fan, I'm sitting here like, yeah, I guess they're playing for Matt Nagy. It seems as more to me that Mitch has rallied the troops here. And if they win today, I have a feeling he's going to be the one that's getting, hoisted on shoulders for club dub. It ain't going to be because Matt Nagy's leadership is. You don't think George looks at that it was because Matt kind of took step to the side and now all of a sudden the success is coming when he's not at the forefront. And to me, it just blows my mind that we've gotten to the point now where Nagy is no longer a play caller. And to me, this whole last few months, as much as I'm enjoying the comeback, it should be an indictment on Matt Nagy. It should be more of a credit to Mitch, even if they fall short today. And I know I'm hedging, but it's the truth. If Matt didn't take 2 years to figure this out, we could have seen how this offense could run against good teams. All I have are 4 bad teams to go off of. If they played all 16 games this season and operated the way they've done it here in the last 4 weeks, I'd have a better litmus test. All I have to go off of is the eye test. The eye test tells me that Matt Nagy is the one that was to blame for this last year and a half failure. And now Mitch is the one saving everyone's job. So it just kind of surprises me that Matt has already ascended above, job safety, and everybody else is still kind of playing for theirs. Me as the owner, I would have said, make the playoffs or I'm kicking you all out of here. That's how I feel about it. But I don't want to take up too much more of your time, JJ, because I know you're getting ready to head to Soldier Field here real soon. What were your thoughts? I was giving a little behind the scenes pressure to the Bears to maybe do what the Packers did today or last couple weeks and let 1,000 frontline healthcare workers go to the game. I understand that there's a lot of logistics behind that. The Packers own the team, own the stadium, their fans own the stadium, so they make the calls. Here, it's the mayor, the park district, and everything else. But are you disappointed that the Bears didn't try to do something today to, give those fans? I mean, my wife's a nurse. She's gotten vaccinated. I guarantee there are 1,000 vaccinated healthcare workers. To me, it's a drop ball and a missed opportunity for the Bears to give back to the frontline healthcare workers that saved this city and give them an opportunity to have a little fun today. Or do you think that would have been a little too much logistics to go through?
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and, play armchair epidemiologist, but, I think it has a lot to do with the city of Chicago being very cautious with how they're handling the virus, something that I am appreciative of as a resident of the city of Chicago.
Sure.
Look, I think there was some talk earlier in the season or before the season that if the numbers stayed where they were, that we could get fans into Soldier Field, but then the numbers spiked from below 5% to 12%, 14%, whatever it was. I don't know. I would have to look into it if the Bears actually tried to make a pitch to the city for this game, but I imagine the city wouldn't have gone for it no matter what it was.
Yeah.
And I realize this might not be a popular opinion, but I am okay with that as a resident of the city. And it's funny, Greg, you're actually talking about me going to the stadium. I'm not going to the stadium.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Okay.
I've been staying at home because, we have not been vaccinated, and we have a nanny who takes care of our kids during the week who we don't want to get her sick. We don't want to get ourselves sick. So we're trying to take ourselves out of any situations where there are crowds or anything like that. So
that's good. It's really responsible. And, for your, especially the way your position on this, for you to then, go to the game. I'm not going to say that's hypocritical because I know they're putting the safety procedures in place, but I do appreciate how much you value the safety of this. The fan in me and the good story. I like the good story, the feel good. And I wish I look at those Packer fans and I feel like they're doing it safely. I went to Nashville, I'm not saying, and it's not a end all be all. There are people there that did get infected that went to the game in Nashville. I don't know. So I'm not going to try to speak out of turn here. I just wish they would have tried to figure out a way. It's such a big stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You can spread out 1,000.
Yeah.
You don't even have to put them in the 100 level. You got to spread them out across the entire stadium.
Right.
And then the other thing that was surprising to me is they finally got it in under the wire, but they're honoring Gale Sayers by putting his number 40 emblem on the field. Are you surprised it took them as long as it did to honor Gale Sayers, considering his legacy with the Chicago Bears?
That was a little weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seems like somebody like poked him on the side. Was like, hey, you might want to get this in here. Because I don't get it. No patch, no. For a guy, Brian's song, all the the history behind him, to not honor his legacy seems a little misleading.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe this is maybe I'm just trying to explain it in a way that's positive for the Bears. Maybe they were trying to wait to see if there would be a game where there were fans to honor him, and then that didn't happen. So you do it in week 17. I mean, hey, look, it's good that they're doing it whenever it may be, however delayed it may be. And what better way to honor Gale Sayers by going and beating the piss out of the Packers and making the playoffs, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Sorry to cut you.
No, you're good. Go ahead, Jake.
Is there any word of what's happening organizationally kind of up higher in the organization? Because I know there's been talk, just through the tea leaves about Ted Phillips possibly retiring. There's a lot of speculation about Ryan Pace and what's going on with him. There's there's some reports out of not really knowing what his contract extension was.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a year? Was it 2 years? Do you have any insight into what the Bears are feeling on Ryan Pace, given the situation? We know Matt Nagy is probably safe in his job, but what about Ryan Pace and how the Bears feel about him?
I get the sense that if Nagy is safe, Pace is probably safe. The Bears went through it previously with, keeping a coach around and hiring a new GM when they got rid of Jerry Angelo and then brought in Phil Emery. I wonder if they've learned some lessons from that. It's not like the Bears were hurting for good GM candidates back in 2012 because they said, "Hey, we're keeping Lovey." But I think, it might make more sense even if Ryan Pace doesn't have an extension beyond 2021 and his contract doesn't line up with Matt Nagy completely, I think it makes more sense to say we're evaluating both of them next year together. And then we can either make a clean break or clean extensions for both of them at the end of 2021. I'm not a huge fan of the fire the GM, keep the coach in place. Because then you need to find a GM who really likes the coach. Otherwise, then you get some of that disjointed, not collaborative, discussions that lead to some bad roster moves, which we also just saw with John Fox and Ryan Pace, where they were not on the same page and things did not go very well. So I think it makes more sense. I mean, look, in my cold-hearted analyst view of this whole thing, where I don't take any emotion into account at all, I'm like, you know what? They should probably just rebuild. Because even if you keep Mitch around next year, I'm not quite sure he's winning you a Super Bowl. I'm not quite sure this core is winning you a Super Bowl. But I also understand that is not how George McCaskey thinks. That's not how most teams around the NFL think. Mm-hmm. And there is a reasonable path to keeping Pace, keeping Nagy, keeping Mitch, and saying, you got one more year. You better show me some improvement. It better be more than 5 games.
It was supposed to be this year.
Well, you're right. It was supposed to be this year.
When I was sitting in the stands last year in 2019, I literally said it to Chris Black, and then he told me that I said that I didn't like Mitch, but what I really said was no half measures. Either fire everyone and go get Lincoln Riley and Jalen Hurts, or stick with Mitch and Nagy and try to figure this out. Instead, they put their feet halfway in the water and went and got Nick Foles and then couldn't decide for half of the season who they wanted to play quarterback and how they wanted to play offense and how they're going to give him another year. I find it ironic, but I don't disagree with you. That is where I would go with it. I would, because then you can bolster up. You have a full draft to bolster up your problem. So
here's the thing, Greg. Teams that go 8-8 or 9-7 or 7-9 are very rarely in position to make bold moves because you don't have a high draft pick. If you're that good, you probably have a lot of money committed somewhere with your salary cap. So what the Bears are looking at is you just make the playoffs and have some fun. Get another game in, get another 2 games and whatever it is, and enjoy it, because there's not a lot of paths out of this right now for the Bears. It's either going to take a lot of losing or a lot of winning. And right now the Bears are in that middle. And it's really hard to get out of that middle.
As they love to do.
The Bears could tear it down, but then you're trading Akeem Hicks, and you're trading Kyle Fuller. Then you're trading Khalil Mack. You're trading Roquan Smith. If you want to do a full tear down, you are tearing everything down.
Right. No half measures.
Right.
That's how I am.
If you're doing that, how much value are you getting? It's easy for me to say, they should, if they're rebuilding, they should trade Kyle Fuller. Well, who's getting Kyle Fuller on a $20 million cap hit next year? No one's giving up a high pick for that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Fuller's a good player. You might get a 4th-round pick for him. Is that going to help you really rebuild, or is it better to just keep Kyle Fuller and try to have some fun next year? I don't know.
It's hard to say, but what you can't do is put your feet halfway in the water, because once you're halfway through it, you got to just commit.
Right.
You can't. You either cut the head off the snake right away, or find your way through it. That's why I always say you need to be decisive. You can't stand on your hand. Look at the Bulls. How many years they waited for Derrick Rose and everything, and then it took. Now this year is finally when they've got the rebuild that fans have been calling for years. It can go the other way though too. So I understand the conundrum, and that's why I'm not out. I was out on everybody. Shoot them off into the sun and now I'm back. And that's why I got smacked yesterday, because I said I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And of course I did do that. And another reason I need to get smacked is because of my internet connection, JJ. And I do have to apologize.
You're still running a 56K modem over at your house?
Man, I'll tell you what. And when at our old house, JJ, I finally paid enough money to have the greatest internet of all time, and then we immediately moved out 2 weeks later. So, I apologize, and I told you I didn't want to keep you too long because I know you got your family to tend to before the game gets started, and we appreciate all your coverage all year long, and of course, we appreciate you taking time here on Brags in the Stands more than a few times. Last second notice on my birthday. I asked you yesterday, you immediately respond. That kind of stuff is truly humbling, and I appreciate how much you give back to the Bears Twitter community, as crazy as we are. And so I appreciate it, man. And maybe next year we'll get that Tariq Cohen dance to the Brags in the Stands dance. I felt so bad for my guy. I wish he was out there battling today. They could surely use him. So I know you've got the Packers losing, so I don't want to hear your
no.
Packers the Bears losing to the Packers. So I don't want to hear any gloom and doom. So give me your best Bears sentiment you can give us today and all the Bears fans watching right now.
David Montgomery is who we thought he was when the Bears drafted him. He's really good. I love watching this dude run. Like, his balance and his agility and his toughness are all just they're awesome to watch, and he's got some burst to him too. And Allen Robinson, look, if this is Allen Robinson's last game in a Bears uniform, let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy watching him set up his routes with just some of the best releases in the NFL. Let's watch Sam Mustipher keep growing in front of our eyes into a starting center in the NFL. There's a lot to like about this Bears team. They've got some fun players on it, some guys who are going to be really good for them in the future. And look, hey, Bears still making the playoffs today, Greg. They're still making the playoffs because the Los Angeles Rams are going to go to Arizona and beat the Cardinals 16-13.
Wow.
Love it.
JJ with the miracle shot from way downtown.
I don't think it's a miracle. Aaron Donald plays for the Rams.
That's true. And I saw, and I don't know if it's true because I didn't back it up, and I go to Wikipedia too much for my stats, but I did see that Sean McVay is undefeated against Arizona since he started coaching against coaching in the East or West, the West, I should say. And then John Wolford, everybody's kind of, poo-pooing it because it's the backup, but all these highlights I see of him.
He's got wheels.
And then they showed this clip where McVay kept calling him Doug Flutie. So maybe you're not so far off. I do happen to agree with you. I think there's a good chance they win, but I guess I got to see the first half. I'm too scared to say it for sure, but
I'll take it.
Real quick. I think I trust John Wolford more than I trust Jared Goff to go win a game right now.
And that's funny because you're probably right there. And then here's the other thing too. Kyler Murray's been struggling here in the last month too. He got that shoulder injury, and since then it hasn't been, free and easy like it has been all year. So I don't think you're that far off, but man, I really want to see the Bears earn it themselves, because then I can talk as much crap as I want on Twitter and nobody can stop me until next Sunday. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is the Bears giving me one day where I can beat my chest and be excited for my team. I know there's some guys in the chat that got the Bears winning big, but we'll see about that. I think it's going to be a close game. We'll just leave it at that. But again, JJ, I can't thank you enough. First year of Brags in the Stands, first Bears season of Brags in the Stands, and we couldn't be there. And for you to, give us your insight and, help enhance this show for our viewers and our fans is greatly appreciated. You do tremendous work for NBC Sports Chicago and the Under Center podcast, and got to bring you on this offseason and bring on our guy Luis Medina from Bleacher Nation Bears, and we'll talk about our love for the Simpsons here.
Yeah, that sounds like a show.
Finally stop talking about quarterback controversy in this town. So
it'll
never end.
That's not happening, Greg.
It'll never end. So all right, JJ, well, enjoy your day. Give your family a big hug for me, and Happy New Year again.
All right, Happy New Year, guys. Thank you. Enjoy today's game.
That is JJ Stankevitz from the Under Center podcast. Make sure you go ahead and listen to his latest one, getting ready for Bears Packers. They do great stuff, him and Cam Ellis. They'll have David Kaplan on quite a bit, and a lot of other good Bears beat reporters. So before we get to our Johnny B segment, because I know people are very excited for the duck race, and finding out who's going to win, who's the lucky winner of our signed Peanut Tillman jersey, and we did the charity, for the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital for George Kittle doing us a favor. So we're going to get to that. But before we do, I have to give a shout out to our sponsor, of course, my guy, Brian Potter. And, I really enjoyed JJ's time, man. That dude is one stand-up guy. What do you say, Jake?
Absolutely. We love JJ around here.
That is right. And that JJ Stankevitz interview from the Under Center podcast and NBC Sports Chicago was brought to you by Fanbags Cornhole, Chicago's official supplier of professional cornhole boards and bags. Choose from any of their officially licensed designs or have my boy Brian design a custom set using anything from a selfie to your company's logo. Visit www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS to get 10% off your entire order. That's www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS for 10% off. Step up your game with Fanbags Cornhole. It's in the game. I better be careful when I do that. It's in the game. We might get copyrighted. It sounds so authentic.
Yeah, I thought that was actually him.
Do you think Mitch is listening to this smooth jazz as he's riding in right now?
I hope he's not still driving a Camry around. I doubt he is, but
do you think Matt Nagy is sitting in his playbook room listening to smooth jazz before?
I hope he's not at home, but maybe he is. I guess it is.
He could still be at the stadium. Joe Madden had a strict rule that you couldn't get to Wrigley until there was like 2 hours before the game started. So you never know, but I do know that today is a very exciting day, Jake. We got a lot to get to. Before we bring on Johnny B, he's hot and ready, and I'm excited to bring him on.
He's
but
like a Little Caesar's pizza. He's hot.
But
and ready.
before we bring him into the conversation, Jake, I want to get your thoughts, man.
Oh, really?
Yes, I want to get your thoughts now because, and then we'll bring Johnny into the conversation because this is a big day for us. And I said it last night. I don't think this game will ever mean as much to Packer fans as it does to Bears fans. We have been beaten down in this city. We didn't really get a chance to talk to JJ about it. It always, what goes around comes around in Chicago. And it seems like history repeats itself over and over, from quarterbacks to bad offenses to winning in miracle fashion to losing in miracle fashion. These things repeat themselves over and over as Bears fans, and now here we are again facing the Packers, final week of the season with the playoffs on the line. We have been here before. Jake, where are your thoughts, your fears, your hopes, your dreams? What are you thinking now that you've been able to digest a little bit talking to JJ Stankevitz?
Well, I mean, I'm as nervous as probably anybody, I imagine. I mean, this is obviously a huge game. The Bears have, I think they're 0-5 back to 83 in season-ending games against the Packers or something like that. So, I mean, history's not on our side right now. Aaron Rodgers is playing as good as probably he's ever played. Almost guaranteed. I don't know if guaranteed, but he's probably going to win the MVP. Devontae Adams is dangerous. I mean, the running backs for the Packers are doing really well. It's going to be a tough game. I mean, the defense has really regressed, and that's not what you want to see coming into this game. I hope Pagano does what he said he would do. He says he's not going to leave any bullets in the chamber. Well, he needs to make good on that promise, because when Rodgers has been ineffective, it's been with a ferocious pass rush and blitzing and getting in his face, because if you don't do that, he's going to pick you apart. And he knows this team like the back of his hand. He loves playing in Soldier Field. Soldier Field's basically Lambeau South at this point. So he's in prime position to come out and play a good game. And I think the difference is going to be, can the offense keep up the same productivity that they've had in the past 4 weeks and put up 30 points on this team? Because that is what it's going to take, in my opinion.
Yep. Do you like that the Bears seemingly have no shot to win this game? Because I do. These other games that we've gone into, the 2010 NFC Championship, the 2013 final game for the division title, there was different feelings as a fan. You felt like you had the right to the division crown. You had the right to the NFC Championship Hallis Trophy to get to the Super Bowl. Your team was good enough in those seasons where you could conjure up a way of thinking, hey, they're going to do this. But this team has been so all over the map as far as consistency. And yes, we have finally seen what a lot of Bears fans have been calling for offensively here the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if you want to include Detroit. But granted, it comes against defenses that aren't, top of the line. We haven't beat anybody yet. Today would be the day we finally beat somebody. So, to me, I like that the Bears. Yeah. I like that the Bears have no shot. I know it take a while to get to my point, but I like the Bears have no shot to win this game.
I know that's kind of the sentiment, but I don't. The Bears have every right to win this game. They have the defense that they have. Granted, they're missing Screen and Jalen Johnson. This defense is built to win and win championships, and a championship, and it hasn't performed the right way for whatever reason. But they still have incredible personnel on the defense. The offensive line is playing really well. David Montgomery is playing better than we've ever seen him play in a Bears uniform. Allen Robinson is still Allen Robinson. Mooney, we have the guys here to do damage, and if they can really work Mitch out the way that they've been doing these past few weeks, I think they can go toe-to-toe with the Packers offensively. The defense is built to win, though. I mean, that's who needs to step up. The Packers defense, leaves a lot to be desired. They have some really good corners, but the Bears defense on paper should be better than the Packers defense. And I think that they are going to they're obviously going to be the difference maker in this game. If they can step up, and they can, hold Rodgers to a few 3-and-outs and get the ball back and capitalize when we do have the ball, they can win this game. And I do think they are going to win this game. I don't feel ultra confident that they're going to win this game, but I know that they can win this game, and I picked them to win this game.
Well, our guy Chubbs, who has been nailing his upset picks all season long, is demanding, is just believe Chubbs. They are going to win this game. He has called the upset.
Put a period on the end of that sentence.
It doesn't need to, because boom, that's all it is. And I want to believe Chubbs because, it does feel like it's going to be a close game. And the longer this game stays close, the better chance the Bears, because then the believe train, the team will start believing in themselves, and every completion, it'll start to, it'll be a momentum shift. Because right now the momentum is all Packers. They steamrolled the Titans. They feel great. They have a chance at the number 1 seed. There's no reason why they shouldn't beat the pants off us just like they did last time. But football is that you just know how it's going to go. It's a game, a war of attrition, and that's how it's going to be today. I completely agree with Stankevitz. The two keys to me for today are the pass rush has to get home, has to create havoc for Rodgers. I understand he gets the ball out quickly, so I'm not saying demanding 10 sacks. I'm just saying you have to cause disruption if you're the pass rush. If they can get home with 4, all the better. But regardless, I mean, if we have to blitz, they have to be smart blitzes. You got to, and I'm sorry, this is what you get paid the big bucks for, Chuck Pagano. I got to find a way to disrupt Aaron Rodgers today. That's the only chance they have defensively. And then offensively, the key to it isn't putting up another 35 burger. They put up 30 points in 4 straight games. First time since 1957 or whatever. That unprecedented for any Bears offense ever. But the key to today isn't to play the greatest game of your life. It's the cleanest game of your life. You cannot turn the ball over today. Your margin of error is so small that you have to play clean. You cannot throw an interception. You cannot have a misguided fumble when you're trying to shift through the middle of, an offensive line that's breaking down. You got to just get down. You got to just throw it out of bounds. You cannot turn the ball over today. It's imperative.
Yeah, I hope he's learned his lesson on that a little bit. I mean, he loves to Mitch's deep ball has been not very good this year, and it hasn't even been very good in these past few games. He hasn't even been taking many deep shots, And when he has, he's just been trying to make a play, maybe when he shouldn't be trying to make. And I do think
the only one of note last week was
lesson.
the Mooney out of bounds where they got the pass interference call. Mooney actually caught it.
Right. Single coverage, though, in that instance. So take the shot. But in the instance of the interception, you had about 5 Jaguars in the area.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Just don't do that.
Just don't do that.
I mean, you're going to have to get points no matter what's happening. And I think if you can hold, I don't know what the weather's like today, but I think Mason Crosby.
I woke up to more snow, another half-inch of snow out there. It's wet and snowy out now. Did they cover the field? Did they not cover the field?
I would imagine they covered the field.
They probably covered it. It's probably uncovered now. I don't think we're going to get any snow for the rest of today. So it'll be chilly.
That ain't going to hurt the Packers. They played in Lambeau. They played the Titans last week.
I'm glad it's. I would want the field.
Fine.
Yeah, so. I would want the field to be clean. To me, it's advantage Packers if it was like a snow blizzard today because they just got to play in it last week, as you said. So I don't want to keep our guy Johnny B waiting any longer. We've spent about 45 minutes here with JJ, and then of course, this is a huge game, and we're going to talk to Johnny B about it too as we run through our pick'ems because the rest of these games on the NFL slate. I don't think matter as much except for the ones with playoff implications. So, let's bring in Johnny B. He's the man, the man of Chiefs lore. He's already, there he was last week with his friends. Got to see the Falcons win in another dramatic game against the Atlanta Falcons in last minute fashion. Of course, the Chiefs won. He shared a fun video here.
What's up, Arrowhead Stadium? Home of the Chiefs. We got You Can't Catch a Cheetah. We got Stagnation, baby. Let's go. Woo! Mask up.
We're going to go to 13-11.
Mask up.
Gotta make sure mask on. Yeah, one day, Jake isn't familiar with the rap industry, but Future is a rapper, Jake, and he has a song called Yes, and, and he has a song called Mask Off. And when we are through this pandemic, like you might, if you can buy stock into a song, buy stock into that song because people will be banging that. I'll be singing it all day long.
I won't be banging
that. The opposite. Said mask up because I was at the stadium, which would allow us to have 16,000 of almost 80,000 people at the stadium. And we're one of the few teams in Kansas City that's actually had fans the entire season. I think the other two, I might be wrong, is possibly Miami and Jacksonville and us. And then other teams, like in Texas, I believe they started a little bit later, maybe in October. And then I think Tampa Bay also started in October. So I think it was Kansas City, Miami, and Jacksonville from start to finish. Mask up.
Mask up. Got to mask up. That's the safety rules. When I went to Nashville earlier this season, you got to do the same. I mean,
love talking to Greg as he's just like the still picture.
Am I froze?
Yeah, you've been froze almost the whole time.
You have a nice little grin on your face though, so it kind of looks.
Am I literally not moving right now?
You're not moving.
Oh my god!
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do Johnny's picks. I want you to
do Johnny B's picks.
You leave. I want you to leave and close your browser and then come back.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, Johnny, what do you say? Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Why not?
Why not? Oh, there's that. There it is.
Let me clear up a little bit. There we go.
There we go. There's that sweet music.
There, now it's happening.
Yeah, I don't know if I look good or bad in this natural daylight, but you know what? We'll go with it.
You look gorgeous, baby.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Well, as you know, it's been a tricky season for the gambling industry with the COVID-19. Who's playing, who's not, all this stuff. And, we put my picks in for the show picks pretty early in the week. We're 22 and 26 on the show, which isn't ideal. But my game day picks are 27 and 10. The picks that I make on the day of the game, which is fantastic. And the picks today are officially game day picks because I'm making them the day of the game. So overall, we're 49 and 36 going into today as we finish out the regular season and head into the playoffs. So let's get into today's show picks, which are also my game day picks, and let's get to it. Number one pick, Colts -7, Saints -3. These teams are playing for a little bit. The Colts are playing the Jags. We know how that goes. But are they going to take Justin Fields now or Trevor Lawrence? I don't know. Justin looked pretty good the other day. in the game with Ohio State. So you put those together, you're actually getting plus odds. So I like that Colts -7, Stinks -2 together on a team. That's my number one pick of the week. Number 2 pick, Cowboys money line. Cowboys been scoring a lot of points. I don't know why. I just feel like the Cowboys are going to score a ton of points today. Take the Cowboys on the money line at -121. I really like it. I just feel like the Cowboys are going to score a lot of points today. I don't know why. Just feel it in my soul. And number 3 pick, this is for you, Chicago Bears fans. We ran with them last week on my game day picks. David Montgomery playing well as the guest just said on the show. And I'm going to take him for an anytime touchdown score today versus the Packers. David Montgomery, -175. And you can take that to the bank. Johnny B 4-3. Game day picks right there.
Love it, Johnny B. Love it. Obviously, we're going to get a little woo from you. Can we get a little woo?
Woo! Woo! I didn't want to woo too much. You know, we got the duck race coming up, and I always woo. And about most of my end of my duck races, I do the woo. So I didn't want to overwoo people out. I feel like you can't have too many woos, but you know, that's just my opinion.
Too many woos on a Bears game day, such
there
as
you go. There you go.
So I guess Greg is still effing around somewhere. So why don't we talk a little bit about our pick'ems while he's doing whatever he's doing. I want to make sure he's here for the duck race.
Yeah.
Let's take a peek at this here. Let me get this dang logo off. So look at this, Johnny. You have a 1-game lead in these standings. So last week I went 13-3. Greg went 9-7, and Johnny B brought home a 10-6 record. So this is a 1-game race between you and I. Greg is back 12. So I said, hey man, you just start taking some swings. You probably should have taken some swings a little earlier, but here we are.
Yeah,
so
I knew it was probably going to get pretty close, but I wouldn't want it any other way. I mean, we don't, say the Chiefs are resting everybody, and I'm going to watch the game, and I still think we're going to win because I'm not picking against my team. But I like that it's going down to the wire here. Obviously, Greg has no chance, but hey, whatever.
What? I'm back.
So the Chiefs
I heard that.
The Chiefs aren't playing their guys, right, Johnny?
Oh, 0.
Okay, so that had everything to do with my choice.
Do you like that, Johnny? Because you're getting a week off already. So now it's, essentially it's almost 3 full weeks of not playing football. If you include these last 6 days, now you have another week, and then there'll be a week after the wild card week. Does it concern you in any way as a Chiefs fan, spoiled of the riches, to be taking that many days off before you gear up to play a team that's played a few, playoff type of games? You know how that had always screwed, guys like Peyton Manning. And I know your boy ain't bred like Peyton, but
yeah,
it doesn't. And I know you're supreme confidence, but is there a bug in the back of your head that?
I'll tell you what scares me more than having a little time off is not having the guys on the field. This is kind of been an interesting season, with no preseason games and no training camp. So, I'm going to do what we think is best for the team. If Andy Reid thinks that's what's best for the team, he knows how these guys practice. We're obviously an experienced bunch now. It's not like we've never been there and never won it before. We've won all the big games. We've won all the close games this year. We've had teams give us their best shot every week. It's like playing the Super Bowl versus every team every week when you're the champs. Everybody gives you their best shot because they want to knock out the champs. So we're seasoned. We've won a lot of close games, and I think we'll be ready. I don't want to see Mahomes get hurt for a game that doesn't have any meaning. I'm sure we'll practice well, and with our experience, we'll be ready to go. I'm not worried about it at all. I'm anxious to see a lot of the young guys get a chance to play today. That could be the future. We've got a lot of really young, nice players that we drafted that haven't got to play maybe as much as I would have liked to see, like a linebacker, Willie Gay Jr., number 50, who's been getting in some snaps. But I think I want to see him play the whole game and see what he does. And there's a couple other guys too that are going to get a lot of playing time, and look towards the future as we prepare for right now. So I'm not worried about it. Now that we're experienced, I think our experience will come up. And we've obviously
you're right in the Super Bowl.
Come back down too. We did it last year. We're down 24-0, and then you flip that switch, baby, and then it's woo. Let's go.
There he goes.
We're hoping for that switch. We're hoping for that switch one of these days.
One of these days.
Yeah, one of these days. Maybe we'll get it today. Maybe the switch will flip today. That's why we keep coming back as sports fans, So I'm happy for you, Johnny B. I know some people in the chat are hating because we're jealous. That's what it is. We're jealous, but that's okay.
I enjoy the hate. I never. I actually really enjoy being the team that everybody wants to lose and the team that everybody wants to beat. I've actually rather enjoyed it this season quite a bit.
Well, Chubb's got you getting blown off the field in the playoffs. So if you guys want to make a side bet on that, I'd love to watch that go down.
I think he's saying today. I think.
Oh, well, that's an easy one. So, all right. So we'll pick him back up now that I'm back here.
Yeah. So here we go. Vikings at Detroit. I know Matt Stafford, Mr. Iron Man, is going to play today. But I'm still taking the Vikings. Johnny's taking the Vikings, and Greggy's taking the Lions. You're going to see a trend here with Greggy taking some wild swings.
I should have started this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, well, we advised you, but hey. Anyway, Falcons at Buccaneers. Buccaneers are playing for something today, I believe. Isn't that right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, positioning.
So Johnny and I are taking the Bucks. Greg's taking the Falcons. Jets at Patriots. Jets are playing some pretty good football lately. I think Gase is all but gone, but I do think the Jets are playing for themselves right now. So hey, let's take them to win against these hapless Patriots. So Johnny and myself taking the Patriots. I'm sorry, Jets. Greg is taking the Patriots.
Do I have a chance to come back and win?
No, you don't have any chance.
You have zero chance.
Baloney. If I get all these right that I picked against you guys,
some picks that line up with each other. You'd have to be different than every one of our picks.
You have to pick different almost every game.
Can I switch all my picks so they're different? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Sometimes you just have to realize when you've lost.
No, right. I don't like accepting when I lose. I'm a sore loser. I didn't realize how tight you and Johnny are. I missed this as I was trying to get my damn internet going.
We already explained all this.
This is incredible. Well, I'm sorry. I missed it because my Walmart internet, as Jeff called it, or somebody in the chat. So I apologize. But wow, you made some ground here, Jake. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.
I'm always rooting for you.
Shut up. Dolphins at Bills. We got Dolphins across the board. Bills are pulling their guys out, resting up. They're playing really great football. So hey, they're pulling the Chiefs mentality there, which I appreciate. So Dolphins across the board for that pick. Steelers at Browns. The Browns are back now. I know they had a few COVID issues come into the game, but I think they're lined up with their players again. So, I'm still taking the Steelers in this game. Greg and Johnny taking the Browns. This one is for the division, right?
Yeah, I can't stand the Browns. I mean, seriously, if there's been a team that's disappointed me more, maybe it's the Rams this year in a couple of bets, but the Browns, are you serious? Like,
I'm telling you, and they keep betting on Cody Parkey, and this might be the week that does them in, because if it comes down to a field goal to win this division and Cody Parkey lines up for that kick, he's a mental midget. So I have no faith in him.
He just looks like when they're at 0-0 or like they actually take the lead, even if they're up like 6-0, he just looks like he's gonna miss every time he walks on the field.
Look at his face. I am scared.
Horrible.
I am fearful. I am Cody. That's what he looks like every time. So 100%. Hey, they're right in their own.
Shame on them. Yeah,
they're right in their own death warrant, bringing him into the playoffs. So that's their fault.
That Sir Yacht guy is going to have to eat a whole deodorant stick when I don't know if you guys follow him. He's a huge Browns fan guy. He jumps into the Ohio River when they win. And yesterday he ate or a couple days ago, he ate a deodorant stick if the Steelers would lose or something. He's always doing funny gimmicks like this. So he's going to have long playoffs, Sir Yacht, if they don't get rid of Cody Parkey. I tweeted at him.
They're not getting rid of him. So
they're crazy. You literally have the example 2 years ago. You are going to become the 2018 Bears. Every game comes down to a field goal. I wouldn't be surprised if today's Bears game comes down to a field goal. You cannot you got to value the kicker position, and if you're just trotting Cody out there, that's not valuing it. So
it's not valuing it.
No.
Anyway, Cowboys at Giants. Cowboys across the board. They're playing pretty good football. Seems like Dalton is getting the boys together. They got a lot of offensive weapons. They're still playing for the division crown. So
crazy, isn't it? That NFC East is unbelievable. How many years do they make it with a losing record? It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. The Bears were in the NFC East. We wouldn't even be worried about a thing.
We'd be the Patriots. They get to beat up on the AFC East with the crap show they've had for 20 years. That's what the Bears would be. If we were in the NFC East, Bears fans would have a totally different mentality.
Yeah,
we'd be
if some butts, candy and nuts, we'd all have a good Christmas.
That's right. If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. And that being said, I don't know if you noticed because you guys can see me, but I already have taken a couple shots today.
I believe it because you won't stop talking.
I've been getting drinking out of this.
I'm stressed, Jake. I'm stressed about today.
Don't worry.
I am worried. I'm worried sick.
Don't worry. Ravens at Bengals. Ravens. Greg. Johnny and I are taking the Ravens.
I just spit my jacket.
Greg's taking Bengals. Why not? Jags at Colts.
I believe in the Bengals, baby.
Yeah, Colts and Titans are still fighting for the division crown as well, if I'm correct.
Correct.
Okay, so we're taking the Colts in this one, Johnny and I, and Greg is taking the Jags. Titans at Texans. Titans for Johnny and I.
The Jags are going to give back the number 1 pick to the Jets, unless I have the Jets.
I think they've clinched it already.
They've already clinched it.
Yeah.
They've clinched it, even if the Jets lose and the
Jets already have
crazy.
Yeah, the Jets are like the hottest team in the NFL right now. So
Jaguars have not won since week 1, I believe.
That's correct. They beat the Colts. Titans at Texans. Johnny and I have the Titans. I feel like there should be light music when we do this, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's
next year. I already got some good ideas. We'll go over for next year. I'd love to
believe it.
I do. I got some good ideas, but yes, I think the Chris Berman countdown.
Yeah,
music.
Let's let him talk.
The music, the Chris Berman, like when they play that on NFL primetime. I don't know if we're allowed to use that kind of stuff, but that would be cool. I don't think
so. But we could do something relative to it.
Something of that nature, I think would be great. Yeah, to give it a little bit of give this segment a little bit of juice.
We need to get through it fast.
An original script of music, like he can compose.
I'll write us a pick. Jingle.
You could just play your guitar while we're talking.
They would just be all horrible, broken up talk. Yeah, it wouldn't work, but hey.
All right. We are. We'll go back to the list.
Johnny and Jake taking the Titans, Greg's taking the Texans. Cardinals at Rams. I'm taking the Cardinals in this one. I really, really want the Rams to win. But I feel like the Cardinals are just better equipped in this one to win. But I'm praying that the Rams win. Greg and Johnny taking the Rams.
John Wolford, to stick to that because I know there's Bears fans that are certainly interested in that matchup.
Sure.
It seems like John Wolford is going to surprise some people today. Sean McVay is good at scheming. Jared Goff isn't the greatest quarterback of all time either. So I think there are some fans that are going to be a little surprised when Wolford comes out there and potentially looks halfway decent, not terrible. When you hear of a backup quarterback that's never played, you start worrying a little bit. But I think he might surprise. The question is, what is Kyler Murray going to do? Because
his legs banged up.
Yeah, he's banged up.
Aaron Donald is a force. He can wreck a game. So there's certainly that in your back pocket. I
want the Rams to win. If the Bears make it because the Rams won, great. I don't even care.
Jared Goff,
a tough matchup.
Goff sucks, man. He's not.
I take it too, but man, it won't. If we get in that way, the post game show will suck because I'm not going to be excited about that. I'll get excited for the game next week eventually. But there will be
lying right now.
It's the truth. I won't be excited in the same.
Okay, let's put it this way. If the Rams win, the Bears lose, but the way the matchups work, that the Bears actually play the Packers in the first round, you're going to care that they lost to the Packers last week? That might actually work.
That might help them. Yeah. That'll all depend. That's a good point because I don't know how that's going to lay out. But
there's a lot of different things. The Bears win everything. The Bears could be playing the Seahawks as the 6th seed. There's a lot of different things that can happen. The Bears can play the Seahawks, the Packers, or the Saints.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to get. I will find a way to get excited for the game next week, but I just won't feel as great about it if we get in off a loss. Now, here's the other caveat. If we got in and the Packers beat the pants off us, I would definitely not feel as good, even if the Rams got us in. But if we have this epic battle against Green Bay and Rodgers just is Rodgers and they beat us in an epic battle where the Bears actually stand up and play, and then we're still in next week and then we play them again. Yeah, in that scenario, now all of a sudden I'm going to be like, well, they ain't beaten us 3 times, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody knows when division opponents play 3 times in one season, it is always going to be tight just because of the familiarity. So, yeah, of course, unless you're the Bears. So
I'm not worried about that because if that, hey, winning in, you can still win the Super Bowl if you're in. So, hey, let's see what happens.
Let's see it.
So here, Saints at Panthers. Johnny and I are taking the Saints. This does have implications for them. I know that they're basically have no running backs, but hey,
none.
Ty Montgomery, he was good 6 years ago. So let's see what happens.
Better than nothing, honestly.
Johnny,
they're lucky they have
him. Are taking the Saints. Greg's taking the Panthers. Green Bay at Chicago Bears. Bears across the board. It wouldn't be any other way, would it? So here.
How about them Bears?
Timing on that, my friend. Chargers at Chiefs.
Whoa, slow down on the Chargers.
We just talked about the Bears all day.
All right. We'll get through it. We'll let Johnny
get this off screen. Chargers at Chiefs. Chargers. Greg and I are taking the Chargers. Johnny B's taking the Chiefs. Of course, he's a true red, I should say. Seahawks at 49ers. Johnny and I are taking the Seahawks. Greg's taking the Niners. Broncos at Raiders. I'm taking the Broncos in this one at home, and Greg and Johnny taking the Raiders, and Washington across the board against Philadelphia. And I know Philadelphia, they have a lot of guys out on that. Fletcher Cox is out. A couple different guys are out. So I feel like we're all feeling good about a Washington.
Great how we all picked the Washington football team.
You guys finally came over to
on the pick'ems of the regular season, and I remember way back when, maybe a week or 1 or 2, Jake said that D-line for Washington is no joke. And you know what? He was right. That Washington D-line is going to win that game tonight.
They're solid. Chase Young is definitely going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. No doubt about it. He is a great player. Man.
And now that Ohio State defensive line, which Chase Young used to be a part of, they look like they got some blue chippers on there that you're going to want to take a look at. They dominated Clemson the other night. So seems like Ohio State's a good spot to look if you're looking for a pass rush. So
we got a Packers fan in here.
So Darnell
wants to know why we think the Bears are going to win.
First off, the reason we think it is because
thank you for being here, Darnell.
Yeah, we're Bears fans. We're Bears fans, and this is a Bears show. So we are always going to find a way to feel like the Bears are going to win. I have predicted the Bears to win, Darnell, yes. And so is Jake, and so is Johnny. Johnny's a little more unbiased in his assessment. So, I guess we'll let Johnny give his explanation because, for Jake and I, we're fans. We have our reasoning.
We have to pick the Bears or Chubbs will come and kill us in our sleep. So,
but let's hear what Johnny has to say because he's the unbiased one. He's the Chiefs fan. So he's also the gambling aficionado, Darnell. So he's going to tell you why the Chicago Bears win.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to bet on this game except for my anytime touchdown score. But there's nothing more dangerous than a wounded animal. There's a lot on the line for the Bears today. For this year and for the future, guys playing for if they're going to be back with the team, coaches, GMs, all that, which we've already talked about all season long. But there's nothing more dangerous than a wounded animal. And that Bears defense is going to have a chance to get to the quarterback. You ain't got to sack him 10 times like Greg said, but you got to put Aaron Rodgers on his back. You got to get him to the ground. You got to get a hand in his face. And today is the day that Bears defense, the monsters of the Midway, that's what they like to call themselves. It's cold outside, It's snow. You got to get to the quarterback. You want to be an elite defense like you've been the last couple of years? Well, I've not seen it for a lot of parts of this season. Today is the day, monsters of the Midway, that you got to get in Aaron Rodgers' face. And I don't care who's playing quarterback. If you get constant pressure, you get a couple sacks and a couple turnovers, you're going to have a chance to win the game at the end. And you got a kicker that's been doing it all year, Chicago. One thing you don't have about.
Yep. So, and
you lose David Bakhtiari, right? You lose David Bakhtiari on a freak accident. So let's say Rodgers takes a tough hit. And maybe LaFleur is looking at the score saying, "Oh, look, the Saints are getting blown out or some shit." Maybe they called the dogs off. I don't know, but he's got to have something in the back of his mind, losing Bakhtiari in practice, that if something else goes wrong, they're not looking too good for the playoffs. So who knows what they might do.
That's a huge element of it, because it's not like they lost him last week during the game and they had time to process it. It's in the middle of their practice week, so that had to throw him a curveball. And when the game gets started, yes, they're still trying for the number 1 seed. So they're playing all out. There's no misconceptions there. But if it starts to turn into a real slugfest and guys are getting banged up coming off the field, the Packers played in the snow last week, and I was waiting for those. They're playing the Titans, who can hit you in the mouth harder than anybody, and everyone stayed healthy. And that's a good thing, but that is an element you watch as a fan. So I'm sure the Packers will be watching for that, because they have bigger fish to fry in the playoffs, although a number 1 seed is ultra important, just as much as making the playoffs themselves if you want to win the Super Bowl.
Sure,
but for me,
at the same time, sorry to cut you off, but
no, it's okay.
Home field advantage might not be that great of an advantage. I mean, the Packers do have guys in the field, and they are making some noise.
I think it's better today that there's no fans in the stands with Rodgers there, because it's not much of a home field advantage for when Rodgers comes to Chicago. He likes screwing with us in the stands. We're all talking shit as he's coming out the tunnel, and then he's smirking as he's going back in it while he broke our hearts. He has no fans to stick it to today, so all the emphasis has to be.
But they do want people to come through Lambeau, and they do want it to be negative 30 wind chills when they do, because 100%. That is a major advantage, Green Bay. So they want this game for sure. But if a couple guys start getting nicked, who knows what they might do. They'll
start thinking twice in that regard. But the other thing to me is the reason I feel this way is I just know the Bears, and when they're overhyped, they have no shot. And sometimes I like last year going into the season, I didn't see it coming. They had this huge hype train and they fell flat on their face. That's normally how it works. But the reverse of that is whenever the Bears go into a game where they have no chance at winning, that it always goes the other way. Whenever they go into a season where everyone gives them no chance, or Mitch Trubisky has no chance of ever, it always goes the other way. And that's what I feel like we're going to see today. It feels like, even though I've picked them to win, I still feel like, man, it's going to be a miracle if they win. But it's one football game. Anybody can win. You saw the Jets win the other week. They were winless. It's not always about who's got more talent and why this or that on paper. It's about
any given Sunday.
Hard, baby.
It's not about.
Johnny's right. The Bears have so much on the line, so much more than the Packers do, from players to coaches to whatever. People thinking about their kids who might, they might get fired and not be here next year and have to move, or they just bought a house, or whatever the hell you're thinking. The Bears have everything to lose. The Packers basically have very little to lose. So he's right.
There's a mentality
there that we're fighting for our lives, and that's exactly how they should feel.
100%. And again, I apologize to anybody with my internet issues. We'll get it figured out.
It's fine, buddy. You're
okay,
fine.
One of these days. I was starting to slow up there a little bit, but yeah, Darnell, you're a Packer fan and you're always welcome here. Maybe we'll bring you on one of these days, or if you want to hop on the post game show, if they lose, we'll make fun of you. If they win, you're never welcome here. No, I'm kidding. But I really feel like the Bears
Thanks
are in
for coming on, Darnell.
They have no chance. That perceptively they have no shot of winning this game, and I feel like that's a great spot for the Bears to be in, because they do have a shot. It will probably
nationally nobody's going to pick the Bears to win.
So
even locally, they're not.
And that stuff plays into the Bears' favor.
Picked the Bears to win this game.
Yes.
Other than that, I think across the board, local guys are picking them to lose. So hey,
that's a good. To me,
not to mention the Packers talked a lot of shit this week, and the Bears acknowledged that they heard it. And Eddie Jackson acknowledged that he heard it. So hey,
all that stuff,
show some pride and win a game.
And all that stuff gets the Bears' antennas up. But the other thing too is the Bears and Mitch have been dissected so hard with the microscope, and the expectation of where they're supposed to be, and why Mitch isn't Patrick Mahomes, and why the Bears aren't the Green Bay Packers. It's made them have to elevate their play. 3 years ago, before Matt Nagy was here, this team never had expectations to win. And I've always said, since Mitch, Eddie Jackson, Tariq Cohen, Matt Nagy, and these guys came into the building, the expectation level has raised. Now, a lot of fans want it to go even higher. Now we go into a game where Mitch Trubisky is expected to play perfect, and when he makes the one turnover, he gets dragged through the street. Matt Nagy is expected to call a perfect game, and when he calls the jet sweep on the 1 yard line, he will get dragged through the streets. And that's kind of where the Bears have to stand, and I like that. Keeps them on their toes, makes them know that they got to play the perfect game today. Sometimes you don't have to play a perfect game to win a football game. This could be a very ugly football game, like in 2013, where it was back and forth and Jay Cutler finally had a good game against the Packers. I could see something like that happening, but to me, it is raising Mitch's level of play, his expectations from all the scrutiny, all the criticism, everything else. It's forced him to be a better player. It's forced Nagy to be a better coach. It's forced this team. Now I want to see this defense feel like they've had a little pressure on them. You heard Eddie Jackson during the week talking about, we know what's on the line. No more talking about it. We got to do it this week. You got one game as a defense who, as in this town, Darnell, we've been beating up the defense because now they're not stepping up. So we go at our team pretty hard here these last 2 years, and they have an opportunity today to shut a lot of people up. So I just feel like it lines up good because they're dialed in and they have no chance to win. Now, when that kind of stuff happens, it always expect the unexpected in the NFL. So I'm banking on it and I'm hoping for it because, our guy all year long, Kevin Kaduk over at the Midway Minute, it's a newsletter that any Chicago sports fan should subscribe to. They talk about all Chicago sports, and that's their cool little graphic there. He was gracious enough to ask me to enter my picks each week like I was some expert, and I felt pretty good about my overall record, as you see at the top at 8-7 on the year. And this is what I had to say for the game. Because like I said, I'm more of a moment guy. I can't tell you X's and O's on paper while they win. It's a gut thing, a feeling thing. And this just reminds me so much of 2013, but I feel like the Packers aren't going to have the 15 miracles they had in that 2013 game. And I think it's finally going to be the Bears' day, as you read here. It's just a perfect place to be. Bears absolutely have no shot of winning this game. So, that's my long-winded answer, man. I'm a fan, so obviously I'm biased.
A lot of implications here too, because this is the fan swings are going to be outrageous depending on what happens in this game. If the Bears win, everyone's going to be comfortable with the Bears. Even myself, even though I'm not a big fan of it, I'll excuse giving Pace a little more time and Nagy more time. Fine, you win this game, whatever. If they lose like they lost to the Packers last time, most of those towns are going to be like, blow this shit up, because you're not going to be thinking about the last 4 games where the Bears put up 30 points. You're just going to see what happened today. So all of that almost doesn't even matter at this point. If the Bears get blown out like they did against the Packers last week, no one in town is going to want this staff to survive. No one's going to, maybe some people.
That's what I asked JJ, because I don't think that as much as we want to dream of playoff scenarios, we do have to be fair to guys like Darnell that there is just as good, not good, there is a possibility that the Packers could whoop our ass today. And if that happens, I know I'm going to be upset. I know a lot of people are going to be upset. But my question is, how mad is George going to be? How mad is Virginia going to be? Because they're going to be there. They're going to be watching, and they're going to react like fans. That's what George says he does. So I do, for people that say, Nagy definitely has his job safe, maybe he does. And if they do, I shame on ownership and management, because I'd be holding my coach, a little more accountable and his feet to the fire. But I don't think it's out of the realm. If they get smacked in the mouth again today by Green Bay and the Rams don't do us a favor, I still think there's a lot that can be on the line outside of Mitch, but we don't like to think like that here at Brags in the Stands. So that's the most we're even going to delve into the negativity for you, Darnell. But
we'll have plenty of post game to talk about. If regardless of what happens, we'll plenty to talk about. Please join us, and we will share all of our insane thoughts.
Absolutely. And we appreciate everybody hanging out and all year long. Here is our first Bears season here at Brags and Stands, and only got to go to one game in the stands, and was grateful that I got to go to that one, even though I had to watch Nick Foles crap all over the bed while I did. And Johnny's been to 3 wins this year. Mr. Spoiled rotten you are, Johnny. I'll tell you what, but you deserve it. You're a good guy, Johnny. You're a man of the people. And here at Brags and Stands, we're all about giving back. And I know Johnny B is too. And, for those of you that, like I was saying earlier, George Kittle, I told him last week, hey, you win the game and name the charity. They won the game, and I tweeted right at him, name the charity, because that's all we asked of him, last week, to beat the Cardinals, to give the Bears an opportunity to make the playoffs. And he chose, as you see in this tweet that he sent back to me, the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. And, it's very renowned hospital. Iowa football made it famous for, they have a moment in each Iowa football game where they all turn around in the stadium and wave to the kids in that hospital that is directly across the street from the stadium. And you can see through, from the windows of the hospital, they can actually see onto the field. So I thought it was a great charity to give back to. George Kittle grew up a Bears fan. I saw some people talking about his comments in the presser.
I will say this, I did grow up a Bears fan, and the fact that we helped the Bears a little bit just makes me a little happier. So, the Bears. But thanks, guys. See ya.
George. We got Fred here for you guys.
The Bears. I fucking love the Bears.
Love him on the team, right? So without further ado, that means it's time for
Ducks line up. Ducks line up.
Time for the Ducks lined up. And I wanted to integrate, because what we've been doing here on Brags in the Stands is letting Johnny B show off his amazing skills outside of his gambling, presence. And he has a very strong gambling presence here on the Bears Twitter stream, been making a lot of people money from their couch. But what he's most known for are these infamous duck races. I put a preview out yesterday of a previous duck race that we've showed here on Brags and Stands, and he's been doing them all year long. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, he's been doing these duck races in a stream, a river, little creek that was right by our house where we used to live, whatever the heck you want to call it. And they've been very entertaining. He was doing them through the pandemic, and it started when we had no sports, giving us a little sense of entertainment. You should have seen our neighbors. A couple races we watched, some of the most intense, sporting events we had all of last summer. So they took off, and I wanted to integrate it here at Brags and Stands, and Johnny B was gracious enough to create all this stuff, from his gambling segment to the duck races that we do here on Brags and Stands. So I wanted to integrate the giveaway that we did for George Kittle and the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital, where we were able to raise, I think, somewhere around $1,500 in just a few days. I mean, it was just like, hey, let's do this.
Hey,
and boom, Bears Twitter all came in. That's what they do every time we do something like this. That's why I have no problem giving away cool prizes like this. Charles Tillman signed jersey with the certificate of authenticity. So, we have 11 ducks. We put them out the other day, 11 ducks ready to go. Here's the
85 is George Kittle. So he's the only non-Bear. You'll see in the race, I was trying to say that, and my words got a little messed up, but I was saying that George Kittle is a Bear for the day.
Okay.
Bear for the day.
Now, I'm going to mess with my internet for a second, because
oh boy.
Yeah, boy is right. Because I pulled that
list. Do you have the list of the names?
I have it. I didn't put it in the hopper, but
I would have made a graphic.
I know. But we were running around like chickens with our heads cut off all morning.
Do the people know if they're a finalist?
Yes, I tweeted it out last night, so I'm going to read the list to you.
Okay.
I should have put it up, but we've got as Ditka, we've got Buck at VTB Show Me. As Sweetness, we got Sun Devil Bears fan. As Waddle, we have Melanie Miller. As Hester, we have Scott Bear, also known as Kevin. For Butt Kiss, we got our guy Faze Hussein. He's been a real cool follower of mine. He's always interacting with me.
Here we go.
Here we go. You pulled it up. I like it. That's a man on the fly. And then for Peanut, we got because that's the jersey we're giving away. We got Kenny Chavez. And for Sayers, we got Scott Boehm. And for Urlacher, we got Mark Sierra. And Jimmy McMahon, we got our beloved Bears, a longtime follower of mine. Dan Hampton, who just got entered into these duck races, is going to be Danny. And then Mr. Villa Gomez has got George Kittle. So all these ducks have been assigned. Really excited. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really good.
All right, so you can pull that down now, and I cannot. So I pulled my internet ether cord out and put it back in to see if it would work. So I hope everything goes smoothly here. That was why I was trying to delay it a little bit, because I'm gonna show the race.
You guys don't know, right?
What's that?
No, I've never seen any of it.
So I didn't, when I released the names last night, I hadn't put the video in or watched it. So I put the names in, and then this morning I edited the video down. So I am the only person that knows. Jake and Johnny do not know who won. So I'm hoping
Johnny did the race. So.
I did the race, bro.
Well, Johnny did the race. You don't. Johnny did the. Oh yeah, that's true. So Johnny's.
I'm the only one that doesn't know, basically.
Now Jake is, but we tried to do it in a way that all three of us had different, responsibilities. So everybody, can have a fair chance at winning. So without further ado, and like I said, I apologize for my internet all day long.
Hey, it's
Here
in here.
is
Line up.
the Peanut Tillman jersey.
Let's do it.
And the winner gets to take that jersey home. Let's see it.
Johnny B side here, Bear Down edition of Duck Races. Well, bear weather is finally upon us here. Snowy and cold, just in time to try to make the playoffs. Speaking of trying to make the playoffs, Bragg's in the stands, asked George Kittle to help us out and get a victory there. And he just did just that. And we said we would donate some money to a charity of his choice, if he did. And he picked the University of Iowa Stead Family Hospital. So what we're going to do here is a duck race. The 11 finalists are going to get to go with the duck, and the winner of that duck, whoever crosses the finish flag first, gets the Peanut Tillman autographed jersey. A lot on the line here. Let's take a look at the duck, starting with George Kittle. He's the only bear in there. It's McMahon, the punky QB, Hester, Peanut Tillman, Sweetness, Gale Sayers, Dick Butkus, the coach, 54 Brian, 99 Danimal, and 87 Greg's boy Tommy Waddle. Ducks line up. Ducks line up. First flag, first duck under the flag wins the jersey. A lot on the stakes at duck races, and they're off, bear down, and it's Danimal in the lead, followed by the coach. A lot on the line here at duck races as the winner gets a Peanut Tillman Peanut Punch jersey. It's Danimal in a runaway right now. He's looking good, but here comes the coach with a little bit in his mouth. And now here comes Peanut Tillman as they come to Dead Ducks curve. Iceberg dead ahead. Iceberg dead ahead. It's Peanut Tillman, and he's looking good as he goes to the Dead Ducks curve. He's around Dead Ducks curve. It's Peanut Tillman. Could he possibly do it? And it's Peanut Tillman putting on a show. Peanut Tillman comes through with the peanut punch. And the guy who is it? He's winning the jersey. And Iowa, University of Iowa, Stead Family Hospital gets the money. Woo! Happy New Year.
What a call. Peanut Tillman.
There it is. Congratulations to Kenny Chavez. Excited for you, man. You're going to take home the signed Charles Tillman, Peanut Tillman, Peanut Punch jersey. Happy to give it away. Happy to donate to a good cause. The Stead family, the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. Like I said, we were able to raise somewhere around $1,500. It looked like, between all the people that donated. I want to shout out everybody that took the time to donate and retweet and all that stuff. That's what we like to do here, is give back a little bit, spread the karma around. George Kittle, helped us out. So we wanted to help him out in any way we can. So, thank you for contributing and being a part of it. We're going to do more giveaways as we go forward, and more duck races and more different fun things, like we did the Tariq Cohen dance off to start the year. We've done a lot of really cool stuff here at Bragg's in the Stands, and it was cool to end the season, by doing something like this. So congratulations. And how fitting, Johnny B.
Yeah.
Peanut Tillman wins the Peanut Tillman race. Couldn't have happened any better.
Funny because I've done a lot of races. Like just before we started the show this morning, I posted the 177th, I believe, day of the Chiefs races. Obviously we've done some Bears and some Bears versus Chiefs punt returners. We did that for a little special edition. But it's weird how the Ducks show up. I'm a one-take guy. All the races are done on one take. And Peanut came through when his jersey was given away. We also had the Honey Badger win on his birthday one time for the Chiefs races. So it's funny. I think the Ducks kind of know when they have a way to rise to the top. So maybe
Ducks
the one on the line today, the Bears will rise to the top.
That is hilarious. The Ducks.
Maybe we'll get a peanut punch of our own today for a turnover. That'd be pretty nice.
There you go.
Because I was feeling like, man, Ditka's always in it. It feels like Ditka's always in it. I don't know if those glasses, those aviators, help him with more of aerodynamics or whatever. But
aerodynamics.
Yeah, Ditka's the one. So, I think Dicka won for Chubbs once when we gave away the Dan Hampton jersey. So, a lot of really fun stuff this year here on Brags and Stands. And Johnny B, you're a huge part of this. And, for you to do these cool things in the duck race in the middle of the snow, I've watched Jake one time. I watched him and his wife, Abby. They were filming a duck race in a flood because that's when the river is really pushing down. That's when you can call it a river. And these two nutballs were literally in the middle of this thing. Like the undercurrent could have taken them. They got these huge boots on. They're scooping up the ducks with like one of those. Yeah, they've never lost a duck. They get like a little retriever net, and the hard work they put into it just to give people a little smile during this pandemic. I always appreciated that. And for you to bring it here to Brags in the Stands, we appreciate that. And I know everybody that tunes in loves it, and they love you, Johnny B, and rightfully so.
One time in May, we had a lot of rain in May, and then it went to a drought for like most of the rest of the summer. But when that river, it turned into a river. I actually, in a promo video, rode a banana down the creek.
You rode the banana?
Yeah, I rode an inflatable banana, and we named him Bob the Banana, to do a promo for some of the prizes. So, yeah, we do it with duck races.
I'm surprised that you could actually ride down that river like that.
Well,
I know somebody did.
When it rains really hard for like a whole day, it's like big enough to be, you could get a tube, it doesn't go in a circle. So you'd have to have Jenny, like we've theoretically talked about Jenny dropping us off and then having to pick us up at the end of the river and then just doing it over and over all day long. But
Jenny do that, of course.
But Jenny's an adult. Jenny's an adult and has things to do, so we never got around to it. Never a dull moment at the Brags residence, and never a dull moment at Johnny B's residence. Go ahead, Jake.
I will say I just read something from Jake Glazer that says he has Matt Nagy and Brian Pace as time will tell in terms of job status. So it sounds like today's results may have some bearing on whether at least.
That's what I'm saying. I think people are getting a little ahead of themselves thinking, I'm with Tom Waddle. He said all week, there's so much that hinges on this game. He almost refused to give any kind of outward synopsis of what's going to happen because he said so much hinges on this game. Do the Bears drop 35 again, or do they crap the bed? Do the Bears make the playoffs? Do they battle and lose in a triumphant game like Jay Cutler in 2013? There's so much context still to be had, and there's only 60 minutes of football left to be played. It's crazy, and it's only fitting.
It's super exciting.
This is who the Chicago Bears are. And we all should have known it was coming before the season started. And all the different things that have happened, it's kind of crazy that it did come to this point, but it just goes to show you that it's like fate for the Bears, that it always has to come down to this, no matter how they do it, who they bench. They went on a 5-1 to start the year, 6-game losing streak, middle of the year, and now they're on hoping for a 4-game winning streak to end the year. It's crazy. It truly is, but nothing that Bears fans should be surprised about.
I know that you were like, I'd rather that they just win to make the playoffs. So the Bears find themselves making the playoffs and losing, and they get bounced in the first round. I would imagine that means absolutely nothing to management because they didn't. You know what I mean? They didn't do anything to get in, and then they get bounced. And
that would be an 8-9 record on the season. If I'm the owner, it's a losing record, and you're lucky to get in. Because they have an extra team in the playoffs now, which they're going to forever now. But it's definitely fortuitous.
I think it's great.
Yeah, if I was the owner, but again, we know George, and more than likely, Nagy and Pace are definitely coming back. So let's hope they win some games and earn that. And as opposed to not. And as I was saying before, it's never a dull moment here at the Brags residence. Like I said, I already kind of dipped into the whiskey a little bit this morning. Calm the nerves. When the internet messes up while we have our special guests on, really gets me all stirred up. And I try to.
You're lucky I'm a professional and I handled it.
Yes,
I'm 17 weeks. I'm 17 weeks into this radio program, and I'm killing it. So here we are. That's right,
and I appreciate it. I need you here because
when I see Johnny backstage, Johnny's backstage, and I just look at him and I just regain that Johnny B confidence, and I just take it and run with it.
I like
it. He has that presence.
To me, it's been a lot of fun. You kind of got thrown in the deep end, with the Sharks, hopping into this crazy Bears Twitter world, Jake. And I know you've always kind of watched it.
That's okay. I pretty much stay out of the Twitter world. No one. I have like 49 followers, and that's how I like it. That's how I like it.
This show is a part of Bears Twitter. I'm proud of that too, and so that makes you a part of it. So it is a crazy world to be a part of, and you've done so much here to help me. And this show has been so much fun this year. And hey, we get a chance at the playoffs, and so for you to drop everything you were doing in the middle of July and help me start something that I take a lot of pride in this, and I know you guys know that. And for both of you to help me in the way you guys have does mean a lot. And again, like I said, it's never a dull moment at my house or at Braggs in the Stands, and it's also never a dull moment at Johnny B's Humble Abode. I actually got to see it for the first time yesterday. He just bought a new house, Jake, and I had to own up to my word. I said that I wanted all these guys fired off in the sun, get rid of Mitch, get rid of Nagy, get rid of Pace, get rid of all these guys, as I once said on our old shows back in the day. And I was there 4 weeks ago, 100% admitted. I did not predict this winning streak. Chubbs was the one that predicted it. Johnny B's the one that's been predicting week to week that the Bears were going to win. Me and Jake we were like, we're out. Let's get the hell out of here. So
once the Detroit loss happened, it was like, all right,
because the Detroit game was the pinnacle, which, or so we thought. It was one more game of loss that would have been what truly reached the precipice of maybe everyone getting fired.
Yeah,
but to me, the Lions, they would be in had they won the Lions game. But I did say after the Lions loss on this show that if I ever came back in and said I'm all in on the Bears again, which I'm clearly back all in, that I would allow our guy at the bottom of the screen, Johnny B, to smack me right across the face. And I also added our buddy Eric, who used to be a neighbor of ours, to do it as well. Well, he passed his smack off to my wife, Jenny, and now I'm in a predicament because I got to let my wife smack me across the face. She's never done that before,
she's
of course.
Fine with that.
So she gets to have a crack at me. So I want to share this video along with our viewers of a fun moment we had yesterday of me living up to my bet of finally being back in on the Bears because I'm all in.
Shuffle rolling here at the Humble Abode of Johnny B's, and I got Johnny B ready to smack, and then I've got my lovely wife Jenny ready to crack me too because Eric traded his smack off to Jenny. So without further ado, man of my word, Johnny B, let's get her done.
All right, first of all, I'm going to dedicate my slap to Chubbs, man, because you know what? Chubbs never goes against this team. I survived a 2-14 season as a Chiefs fan. So here we go, Chubbs. This one's for you right here. Ooh.
I'll give you another one.
You want another one? Oh!
All right, you ready, Jenny?
God.
Now, Jenny has been dreaming of this day, so I know this is for the Bears, and this is for Mitch. Can I stop believing? Give it to me. Give it to me. Good. All right, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I man my word. Smack is done. Go get it done, Bears. Let's get to the playoffs. I'll take all the smacks in the world, baby. Bear down. Let's go. Woo!
So
those are decent slaps. Some people were a little down on the slap, but
the first one he kind of missed. That's why I gave him a second shot.
Second slap was solid.
He grew his beard a little heavier than I expected.
Yeah, he's got cushion.
I got my winter beard and I got my winter weight on, as you can see in the video.
The second slap was really good. I mean, it may not look like it because I didn't run into it, but I got a heavy hand, and definitely that second one had a nice little crack to it. But obviously, he's my friend. I want to knock a little sense into him, but I want him to see the Bears get it done today.
It's good. Yeah, it's a good thing I wasn't there doing the slap because I've been, Greg and I have been friends for I don't even know, 28 years or something. So I would have let him have it.
And I don't know, we've gotten into it a few times, but I don't think we've ever actually thrown blows. We've seen each in our younger days we've thrown blows. The infamous corduroy jacket moment, which we don't have to share. It's all another day.
On Thanksgiving, someone made fun of my corduroy jacket I was wearing.
Don't ever make fun of Jake's corduroy jacket. He can get real saucy. But our guy Duck Jones in the chat wants to know why. We have some new viewers today. We're happy for those people coming into the pregame show while we get ready for Bears Packers. But the reason we have a Kansas City Chiefs fan, a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan, a guy that is like Jake and I, diehard in the stands all day. This is when we were at the Bears Chiefs. I believe that was a pregame the year of the pregame, and he's the guy that goes to the games. And this is a show about fans in the stands, and also it's Brags in the stands. So it's about me and my friends. And Johnny B is a great friend of mine. He was my neighbor for more than a few years. We both actually just moved at about the same time. And so Johnny B is, part of my life, a guy that I saw every day outside the back of my window doing crazy duck races. And he's very passionate about the Chiefs, but he's also a Chicagoan. He's an athlete at heart. He played on the professional tennis circuit.
More than heart.
And also is our in-house gambling aficionado. So his segment on this show is called Johnny B for 3. Earlier, he gave away 3 picks, as he does every week here on Brags in the Stands, to help you make a little money from your couch. We do the duck races. He talks a little sports, anything in between. We do the fun stuff here. That's what Brags in the Stands is all about, and I'm proud to have Johnny be a part of it, even though he's got all this Kansas City Chiefs stuff in the background, and it puts a knife in our heart as Bears fans every time, because you're living the fantasy that a lot of Bears fans feel like they should have had, because the Bears could have drafted Patrick Mahomes. Now, I feel like for some Bears fans to truly be upset about that are being a little Monday morning armchair quarterbacks, because nobody had Patrick Mahomes being drafted number 2 overall. But they definitely should have. There's no question about it. And that's why they get paid the big bucks. So I'm not going to argue with people there, but I'm also not going to be so jealous of the Chiefs' success because the Bears didn't get Patrick that I can't be happy for what the Chiefs are doing, or Johnny B's, happiness. Last year, he got to go to the Super Bowl, and I had him on my old show, and we talked about it. There he is at the Hard Rock Stadium. And these are dreams I hope to live one day, and Johnny B's lived them, and I don't hate on him one bit at all. And like I said, he pays it back here at Brags in the Stands by making you some money from your couch and all that stuff. He's a White Sox fan, so when we get into the summer, maybe we can get him to put a couple Chicago things in the background. Because, Johnny, I don't have to speak for you. You're a Chicagoan at heart. Duck Jones is trying to learn a little something about what we do here. So, I'll let you fire away. Like I said, I gave you the intro.
Well, I was born in Chicago. A lot of people don't know that about me. And when I was a kid, I was a huge NFL fan, just anything NFL, from Dan Marino to Walter Payton. I just love the game of NFL football. So I did follow a lot of Bears games. I did get to go to a couple as a kid. Got lucky to go to a couple, see some great players play. But story got me to Kansas City. First time I was on a plane, and I got taken in by the community. I got showed around. I got to meet some of the players as a young kid, and I became a Chiefs fan, ride or die, in 1986. That's all it took. I don't root against the Bears. I often root for the Bears, and I am a Chicago White Sox fan at heart. And that is
Bulls
for sure.
fan.
My dad played baseball at a high level. I have an uncle that actually, it's my dad's uncle, so my great uncle, who actually pitched a little bit on the White Sox way, way, way back in the day. And we're going to save that story for another show. But I was born on the southeast side of Chicago. I'm a Chicago guy, but I'm the world's biggest Chiefs fan. It's just the way it is.
That's right. And we love you for it. And we're hoping we rub some of that championship luck onto us here on Brags in the Stands so we can get ourselves a championship. So, like I said, we appreciate everybody hanging out all season long. Wanted to have a little fun. We're hoping for some, great moments today for Bears Packers. Hopefully Mitch Trubisky can look how he looked on this beautiful Sunday afternoon 2 years ago when the Bears clinched the division over the Green Bay Packers, and he outdueled Aaron Rodgers that day and looked very efficient, and the run game was hitting and the defense was clicking and everything was going right. That was the last true positive moment because they won the game, and Bears fans, me and my guy Phil and whole slew of other Bears fans got to celebrate. My guy Pablo, it was just so much fun to experience that. And I want to live that again today, even though it won't be for a division. Jake and I were at Mitch's last biggest moment. That was the biggest last win. But to me, this moment here is now where we're back to for Mitch. Here, I'll share this moment that Jake and I got to see before they lost.
Give it to me. You got him.
And there it is, man. It kind of puts tears in my eyes because I can remember how exciting that was. He stepped up. We were down in that moment. He hit Allen Robinson on the double move, beat Cravon LeBlanc, a guy that knew Mitch Trubisky's tendencies from playing with the Bears at camp and all those years. And there he was stepping up in that moment. And that's all we want to see as fans is the Bears
on the sideline too in that game.
Live up to those moments.
That drive.
And normally I try to hold my composure because I want that perfect shot. That's what I live for, going to these games, having fun, getting a good shot. And I couldn't right there. You could hear me going crazy. I had my arm. I was giving Jake the biggest, stranglehold I could possibly give him, an arm bar. I was so excited. And, then of course we all know what happened. And I'm not sharing that today. The only stuff we're going to share is
Green Bay sucks. 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 Green Bay sucks.
There it is. Of course,
everyone's just laughing and pointing at you.
Yeah, well, they don't get it. I wish I had a video because when you go through the tunnel of love when you're exiting Soldier Field, everyone chants it, and it's actually it's like a therapeutic, almost like a religious thing you do as you go through the tunnel of love, as I call it, leaving the south entrance of Soldier Field, and everyone chants "Green Bay sucks" all together, and it echoes. And I have videos of it, but I couldn't find any, so that was the only one I could find. And not as many people understood what was going on. And when you're down in the 100 level, you'll get that sometimes because those people, sometimes don't know the true fan traditions. I'll just leave it at that.
I'm not gonna lie there.
We'll share this too. It looks like the priests are doing their job today.
There you go.
In Chicago, they're blessing the Bears. May the Bears beat the Packers after the prayer of spiritual communion and change into a Bears match. So hey, we love that, right?
All hands on deck. All hands on deck. We even had I saw Reverend Jesse Jackson was tweeting in defense of Mitch. So we're getting everybody from Chicago in.
I remember we saw Jesse Jackson at training camp one year, and he was really short, wasn't he? Wasn't he I don't remember. Even for me to say that, but yeah, he's a big Bears fan as well. So hey,
I'm thinking
we'll take
about
all
guys,
the support we can get.
I'm thinking about guys like Bearman right now. Can you see it? Because I can't see it.
Oh yeah,
I'm thinking about my guy Bearman right now. I didn't get to go to one game all year. Didn't make the trek down to Tennessee, unfortunately. I know Paul, the Road Warrior, who we had on, for a few shows, was able to make it to Paul Zawicki, the Road Warrior, who's been to, him and Don have been to going to Bears games for 40 plus years, and their streaks are still living because we're getting back there next year. But definitely had to take a break from going to the games. And Paul got to go to 2 games. Don, I don't believe, got to make it to any this year. So I want to give a shout out to Bearman. I'm thinking about him. I know how much it means to him for the Bears to make the playoffs, and we just want to see some happiness. I want to see Mitch. Do you think if they win it, do you think Mitch will, still be greeting the crowd? We gotta get them positive.
I guess he won't be greeting the fans as there are none, but
it'll be Nagy when he was walking off. He's pointing to the crowd. He'll just be pointing to he's just like, it's sad, but I'll take it. I want to get all the positive vibes. 2018 was such a magical season, and it's been such a struggle for the Bears to get back to a point of meaningful football. And here they are today. They got there by hook or by crook. They scratched and clawed. It has not been pretty, but here they are. They have a chance to right so many wrongs. And some Bears fans may not like it because it doesn't taste as good as filet mignon, but I will eat this steak, this playoff steak, all day long. I don't care if it ain't cooked. I will eat that meat all day long.
But I'll eat it. I love me some hamburger.
There's a lot of teams that wish they had a chance.
And there goes Greg as the show.
Am I froze? I'm not. Are you froze, Johnny? I'm not froze.
I'm not froze.
Yeah, it's Jake
now. We all were for a second.
It's also you then. No, I appreciate everybody. No, again, I want to say thank you again for the 9,000th time to everybody hanging out. Had some fun today. Probably went a little longer than we thought.
Play that funky music for you?
We'll play that funky music.
All right, let's get out of here.
Play that funky music, Jake.
I can't play Johnny's music. That's funky. That's his music.
Actually, we got to let Johnny B close out his day as he always does. So cut the funky music. No, go ahead, Johnny.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Take it away, Johnny B.
All right, everybody. Closing out the regular season, a crazy season it was. 2020 NFL season, COVID-19, everything else going on. And remember, so you guys got a chance today, Chicago. A lot of teams wish they had a chance today. So you take your chance and run with it. And remember, money won is far sweeter than money earned. Woo! Let's go.
There it is. There's the woo. So here we go. You and me, bud. You wanna? All right, there you go.
You and me together. So, yep, Jake, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I have all those feelings. That's why I had to have a little bit of whiskey by my side this Sunday morning. Yes, I have a drinking problem, but no, I'm quitting tomorrow. I'm getting back on the diet. Me and Jenny have been talking about it for far too long, so I'm hopping back on the workout train tomorrow. I promise. Yeah, it's a good time to do it. Let's get, where we see the light at the end of the tunnel of this crazy COVID crap. So time to get the positive vibes flowing. Again, want to thank everybody for tuning in today, hanging out in the chat. Want to thank JJ Stankevitz for carving out a little bit of his Sunday morning here on Brags in the Stands. I know he's working hard and tending to his family. So want to shout out him and, of course, his Under Center podcast. Make sure you tune into that. My guy, JJ Stankevitz, always welcome here on Brags in the Stands. Want to shout out our guy, Kenny Chavez. Again, congratulations, Kenny. You have won the signed Peanut Tillman jersey. How about it, baby? That's a great way to start off your day.
Awesome prize.
With a Bears-Packers victory. So, again, that wraps things up for this long pregame show. We had a lot of fun here. Kay Adams is ready. Oh, you don't say the Bears will make the playoffs? We will see about that. Our guy, Money Mitch, ready to shock the world, baby. I am so excited for this game, Jake. I'm nervous. So we're going to wrap it up. I am your host, Gregory Braggs Jr. This is my co-host, Jake, and we've had a lot of fun here on Brags and Stands pregame. Make sure you tune into the postgame show. We'll be back immediately following the game, win, lose, or draw. But if it's a win, we're going to be having a lot of fun. I can promise you that. So, again, have a great Sunday. Enjoy your football. Go Bears. Please get one win for us. We deserve it all day long. Thanks again, ladies and gentlemen. Bear down.